I believe it's President Trump's plan to get this done for us before Christmas. Well, I got clarification on that from two very different sources that are both very high up. One opinion came as a result of the contact with HSBC, the lead bank in Canada, and basically around the world for this RV. Our league in the United States here is Wells Fargo. HSBC is saying that we would receive notifications very early next week, Monday and Tuesday. We have to be started with exchanges before the 29th of December. Now, the other source was very similar. The other source said we would be notified prior to Christmas very early this coming week, and then begin exchanges after Christmas. Excellent information. Excited. Feel good because it's not a secret. Everybody knows. What I find interesting is only a small percentile of the United States of America. Its population knows about the Iraqi dinar. Only a small percentile. I can't help but to wonder who are the people that have diners. This is Con Baba. Today, December 21st evening. We, us, IQD, investors in the West, are still a problem for Iraq and the CP. My biggest concern is how Iraq is going to handle one of their biggest currency problems. All we know for sure is Iraq is on the path, the track, in which currency values increase. Everything is on course. T-minus 13 days and counting, according to the Central Bank of Iraq, concerning December 31st, 2025, where 1310 dies, and the following day, on January 1st, 2026, something new replaces it. All according to the CBI. Some fun stuff out of Iraq this morning. Iraqi economist warns of possible dinar devaluation amid fiscal pressure. This is very similar to what we saw in Kuwait. Iraq has already told us they would not go there. But these are the kind of stories they run before RVs. We saw the same thing in China as well. The UN has clearly shown that domestic Iraq ends in 2025 and the international Iraq starts in 2026 with banking reforms. Well, tell me UN, how did you convince the international world to accept 1310 as the rate? The bottom line is they going to show you how they going to do it on their time. We don't know exactly when that's going to happen. One thing for sure, all of Iraq's banks will need to be compliant 100%. The Central Bank of Iraq is autonomous. That means they can change the rate separately from the government of Iraq whenever they want to. They don't need anything from the government to change the rate other than maybe like a mutual agreement. They don't even need the government to be done and completed. They could do it while we're in the middle of this election period, because the CBI is completely autonomous. Syria and Iran have formally moved to redenominate their currencies. Syria, removing 2 zeros from the currency. New banknotes are planned, with a 12-month period in which old and new notes will circulate together. A note like £5,000 will effectively become 50 in the new scale, but keep the same purchasing power. Iran's parliament has approved a redenomination plan to remove 4 zeros from the rial, replacing 10,000 current rials with one new unit. The law gives the central bank up to 2 years to prepare and then up to 3 years of dual circulation of old and new currency. So the change is legal and underway, but not instantaneous. As you see, this news of all roads lead to an RV. Wrong. Values do not change. None of this is immediate, and none of it has anything to do with Iraq revaluing their currency. Iraqi economist warns of possible dinar devaluation amid fiscal pressures. Al-Mashadani said growing discussion within financial and government circles points toward a potential devaluation of the Iraqi dinar against the US dollar, despite its serious social consequences. With falling oil prices and forecasts such as JP Morgan's outlook on future oil markets, The next government may find no financial exit except changing the exchange rate in order to pay salaries, wages, and operating expenses. The CBI is saying the expiration of 1310 does not mean a new rate automatically announced on January 1st, 2026. The CBI says it signals the end of the current framework. It doesn't mean that you're not going to either. The Central Bank of Iraq is saying they have set the exchange rate at 1310 dinar through the end of the year, and then they will review and reassess the rate as they had into the new year. 1310 is locked in for now, and any changes will be considered after December ends. This was answered to the guy on TV news from the CBI. What we re-witnessing right now is what I call good guy versus bad guy in the monetary reform education to you Iraqi citizens. I find this tactic to be brilliant in order to hide the truth and in order to give you the truth. Monetary policy indicators confirm central bank first in 2025. This means they have all the access to banking and monetary reform for the years of 2023 to 2025. They are telling us that they have completed in 23 and 24 and 2025 that they have completed this massive reform that is solely designed to lift the purchasing power of the dinar. They are telling us they will finish the banking reforms during the rest of this month. When you go to the redemption center only, you'll be able to ask for the contract rate on the dinar, which is quite good. President Trump has already orchestrated that for us some time ago. That is an excellent, crazy, high rate. Every day the monetary reform is being explained to the Iraqi citizens, but it's at the point where it's leaving the borders of Iraq. There's only so many days in December. Those days are being narrowed down to such great pressure. The great pressure now lies on the 29th and the 30th. The Venturi effect is putting a lot of pressure on the monetary reform. Thank you for watching.